This wallet has an inside pocket secured with a zipper, 2 cash compartments and 4 credit card slots, and all of the tools you need to make any of these 3 sizes are a mallet, a box cutter, a hole puncher, and a couple of needles. Hi, my name is Tony, and in this video I will show you how to make any of these wallets even if you've never worked with leather before. We will go over what is the best type of leather to use, the tools you need, and what is the easiest way to put any of these together. We need to start by downloading and printing the patterns. There are 3 different sizes included, so pick the one you want and then print the pages at actual size. After you printed the pages, we need to put them all together because some of the pattern pieces won't fit a single page, and I had to spread them over 2 or even 4 pages. So cut along the dotted lines and use tape to connect all the pieces we need. Time to pick the right leather. When making wallets, you want something that's both thin and stiff enough so the wallet holds its shape, like for example this 5 ounces vegetable tan piece of leather I have right here. You can also use thinner, softer chrome tan, but if you do, you will need to line it with something else to give it a bit of stiffness. For that, you can use fabric or even thinner leather. After you picked the right leather, place and tape the paper patterns onto the leather. I used masking tape because it's see-through. Okay. Now pay close attention to me, especially if you're familiar with my work. I always mark the stitching holes in my patterns, and the files for these 3 wallets make no exception. Every stitching hole is there inside the pattern. Nothing changed. This makes the entire process very easy to follow and will basically require exactly 2 tools, a single hole puncher and a mallet. Now, this means you don't need to invest a lot of money to get started in leatherworking. Having said that, if you have a multi-prong hole puncher like this one here and you have some glue around, we can make these wallets faster and even easier. And I'll show you exactly what I mean next. For the biggest piece of the wallet, I will only punch this middle hole here, so I know where to attach the snap button later, and then I'll just ignore all the stitching holes and simply cut the leather. Next is the second biggest piece of the wallet, the zipper pocket. For this, I will only punch the holes close to the edge and ignore these ones in the middle here where we will later attach the credit card slots. After you stick it to the leather, simply rub some wax along the stitching line so the hole puncher goes in and out easier. And also in this particular case, it will remind us of the holes we need to punch and the ones we need to ignore. And like I said in the beginning, all you need is a single hole puncher just like this one. Very cheap, very reliable, and I actually sell these in my hardware shop. I'll leave a link down below. Of course, if you want to speed things up, you can use a multi-pronged hole puncher like this one, spaced at 6 millimeters. I actually left a link to this tool as well. Now, there are a few small corners you need to cut, and for that, I will pick one of these tools. Very handy for all type of corner and small curves. Next, we have these 4 little wings. They all have 2 rows of stitching holes. Only punch the shorter one. Now, for the last 2 bits, I will actually mark the beginning and the end of the middle stitch right here. This will help finding the middle a bit later, all right? All the other holes I will ignore as well. So, before we get to stitching, let's go over all the pieces we have. Again, this is only if you want to use one of these guys. You can absolutely punch every single hole if all you have is a single puncher. The end result will be exactly the same. I'm just giving you options, that's all. Moving on. Let's open up that glue can and apply just a little bit on these edges here. Only go 3 or 4 millimeters along the edge, no more than that. It's important to tell you, this is a temporary glue job and only meant to hold the pieces in place while we punch the stitching holes and do the stitch afterwards. These small pieces will come right off if you pull even a little harder. If you want the glue to hold better, you should actually scratch the surface of the leather with some sandpaper before applying the glue, all right? So just a little bit of that and then put them all together just like I'm doing here. They will hold much longer if they have a little bit of roughness for the glue to adhere. Moving on, I'll just apply a few gentle taps with a round-headed hammer to make sure the glue holds a bit better. Now, after you glue all of the little tabs, just like I did here, we can move on and punch the stitching holes through both pieces at the same time. Now go ahead and stitch all the 4 lines. Because of this type of stitch, I actually recommend a thinner thread than usual, maybe 0.6 or 0.8 millimeters. For round holes of 1.5 millimeters, stick to 1 millimeter thread. When you are done, use a lighter or a thread zap like I do and melt those ends. Next, I will spray some water where the 4 flaps will bend on themselves, okay? I recommend using this method to prevent cracks on the surface, especially when using vegetable tan leather. Last thing I will do with this piece is bend it in half and then let it dry under a couple of books. Let's focus on the middle section next, and I will show you how to attach the 2 credit card slots. Nothing new here, you'll just need to place the pocket right down the middle. So in order to do this, I will also place a ruler right down the middle of the piece and then place the card pocket just a couple of millimeters away from the center, okay? Next, you can mark the stitching line and then punch all the holes just like I'm doing here, just like we did before. Beautiful work. Now let's get to stitching. These are your 4 credit card slots attached to your middle section. And if you want to close this middle section pocket with a zipper, I will show you right now just how easy that is. You're gonna need a zipper that runs exactly the length of this middle section here. Now, I happen to sell this exact size in my hardware shop, and I'm gonna leave a link below, but please don't worry, you can use any zipper you have. You'll just have to trim it to size. You're also gonna need to remove the stoppers at both ends, just like I'm doing here, no matter where you got the zipper from. The stoppers are meant to stop the slider from coming off, which is actually what we want at this stage, to remove the slider, okay? After you separate the 2 halves of the zipper, once again, use glue to attach it to the edges. Hey, now pay attention for a moment, all right? This is very important. pay attention. When you attach the second half to the other side of the pocket, make sure those wee dimples on the zipper teeth face the same direction. Otherwise, the slider won't slide, okay? So just make sure they all point the same direction. Good. Now, punch the hole through both the leather and the zipper, and after, stitch them together. Next, we need to fold the whole thing down the middle and just use a little bit of water like before, if you use vegetable tan leather, and then insert the slider back on. You need to insert it the same direction as those wee dimples we talked about earlier, okay? Very good. After you manage to get the slider in, run it all the way out on the other side, okay? Just like we did before. But next, split the entry point an inch or two, and then once again, insert the slider, but this time run it all the way to the middle and stop there, just like this. Next, we fold the whole wallet around the inside section and we finish these two stitches. Next, I'm gonna even out the edges, apply some burnishing paste, and then give it a nice shine to match the rest of the leather. Last thing we need is to decide what closure button you want to use, all right? Maybe a sun brown button, maybe a magnet, or maybe a closing snap like I did. I'll go ahead and show you how to attach the snap button. Well done, congratulations. I told you this is gonna be super easy. With or without a zipper, they are very practical and you can choose the size according to what you want to carry around and of course where you want to carry them and how big your pockets are. Literally, how big your pockets are and if they accommodate these various sizes. Now, if you like this video, you should check out my other wallet tutorials and of course subscribe to this channel because why not? It's both very useful and free. Now download those patterns and get to work. I'm out. Peace.